mind. We've been seeing so many water rescues going on. I don't know if we have some more pictures that we can go ahead and show, but you know, some of you have been dealing with power outages, lightning strikes, again, the flooded streets. It's just a mess across our area, and unfortunately, it's not over yet.
Cornelius Hocker is out there. We're hearing that he has joined us at this point. He's in Broken Arrow. Cornelius, tell us where you are. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, I am near South Olive Avenue and 129th, and you know, police officers, sheriff's deputies, they're always telling us, turn around, don't drown. I actually talked to the Wagner County emergency management guys, and they said the same thing. This is what they're talking about. It's dark out here. We were trying to head to Leonard because we've heard some reports of damage there. We did not see this water until we got up on it. And I want you to take a look out in this field. If you can see right there, there is a fire hydrant that is covered. And there's actually a car, if you turn to the left, Richard, there's a car coming this way. And hopefully they don't go too fast and try to get through this, because I was talking to the emergency managers in Wagner County, and they had a little saying referencing, if you can't see the yellow or white lines, don't go through it. And you know, it's that advice coming full circle tonight, whenever we were right up on it, and we weren't going fast, but we had to pretty much slam on our brakes to stop to avoid going through it. So if you don't have to be out here, don't be out here, because we don't even know how deep this is, and this is apparently coming from some sort of creek or ravine that's over here, and it is moving water and going in here. So yeah, I mean, this is what it is. Like, you guys, you do not need to be out here. We're out here trying to warn you and let you know and show you. And actually, this car is gonna try to do it. You know, and they tell you not to do this. You know, he's in a truck. But the emergency managers, they say you're not supposed to do that. He was going fast. If you're going to do that, you're supposed to go slow. But yeah, I'll send it back to you all. We're not going to do that just because we're not in a big truck, and we're going to go around and look for more areas and stay safe out here.
All right, Cornelius, but he brings up a good point, seeing that fire hydrant there, because if there's just a little bit more water and you can't see that fire hydrant, you could plow right into that and not even know. And that's what we're talking about, the hidden dangers in just a little bit of water. We do want to tell you, Sperry schools are closed tomorrow. They are dealing with flooding in their schools. We sent out a breaking news push alert if you have the Fox 23 News app. If you don't, that's why I'm telling you, and maybe it's a good idea before you go to bed tonight to go ahead and download the news app and weather app so you can get this breaking news, this breaking information. And
then we see the building flooding in schools, and they get in there with the process of what it takes to dry those things out with all the big fans and the hoses and pumping it out, and so who knows if it'll extend past tomorrow.
All right, so now we want to go back to Chief Meteorologist James Adelot, because we do have another round of storms. Thankfully, no tornado warnings at this time. So, James, what else can we expect as so many people are still trying to go to sleep tonight?
Yeah, these are going to be noisy storms as they move into the metro area. We've already got one skinny band of heavy rain that's going to be sweeping across the metro. A bigger band of heavy rain, too. Let me add the lightning to this, kind of give you an idea of kind of how noisy these are going to be. So, each one of these lightning bolts showing a cloud to ground lightning strike, and as that moves across the city, and we continue this current rate of lightning, each one of these lightning bolts has a corresponding clap of thunder too, so it's likely going to be a very noisy night coming our way. Now, on the wider view, we got from east to west, one band of heavier rain and thunderstorms in Mays County, second band right through Tulsa. We're actually watching another band of thunderstorms developing in southwest Oklahoma right now, and that is going to be part of more lift and more thunderstorms that will sweep into eastern Oklahoma from the southwest. This will be moving our way as we get closer to daybreak, so we're going to continue with rain off and on, heavy areas of rain all the way through the overnight hours and even into tomorrow morning. Now, there is some good news. We're not seeing widespread severe thunderstorm warnings in this. Bad news is that's still a whole lot of rain moving our way. Now, Fox 23 meteorologist Laura Mock has taken a look at some of those high-resolution computer models that we have access to, and she's going to walk you through some of those, and we'll watch how this is going to develop overnight and when it's finally going to move out, too.
Yeah, and just to give another look at some of those rainstorms that are currently moving through the area. James, you did a great job showing where we have that heavy rain currently and where it is headed. All of these green boxes, flood warnings, some of them flood emergencies. Now, as we take a look kind of on the wider scale of things, like you said, there are still more thunderstorms developing off to our west, southwest Oklahoma. You can see a line developing there just on the west side of Lawton, with more around I-40 there back into Clinton and even as far as the Texas Panhandle. As we go through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning, that is what we're going to have to watch for as it moves in our direction. Likely going to continue to see these flood warnings ongoing across northeast Oklahoma, and the potential for more to be issued. As we get into tomorrow, we've had a very high severe risk today, and we still have a severe risk tomorrow, mainly in the morning hours. Western Oklahoma is going to start to dry out, but as those thunderstorms that I just pointed out start to head in our direction, the highest chance for severe weather, note it's much lower than the risk that we saw today. It will be centered a little more to our east, but we very well could see more severe thunderstorms issued for us tomorrow morning, even in 2 parts of tomorrow afternoon. So let's go ahead and take a look at that timing with one of our radar predictors. We have that rain in the area now. That starts to push out. We very well may have just a little bit of a break from that really heavy rain, but that's going to be hard to do with how things have been lining out. 3 o'clock in the morning, those rainstorms that are off in southwest Oklahoma now start to make their way in our direction, approaching from the west, and by the time we get to tomorrow morning, check out this line that starts to move through. We start off Tuesday with more thunderstorms coming through, with more rain falling across already drenched and already flooded areas. This is going to be a devastating scenario for those areas that have already seen those water levels come up. And as I play this forward, I have more bad news. We very well could see more thunderstorms even into the late morning hours on Tuesday. I mean, this is showing some thunderstorms all the way through 10 o'clock, but after that, things finally start to clear out. Once we get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that rain, I shouldn't say 3 o'clock exactly, we're talking Tuesday afternoon. That rain finally starts to move out, the heavy rain threat moves out, and we will finally start to clear out for Tuesday afternoon. It is going to take us that long for that rain to move out, but even as the rain moves out, we're still going to have to deal with all of that water draining into the creeks and the streams, the rivers and the lakes, and we're likely going to be dealing with the effects of this for days as we go through this event. So here's another look at Fox 23 Doppler radar. Several flood warnings in effect across the area, and we're starting to see more rain getting into the Tulsa metro. As we come in closer to this, we're just starting to see more heavy rain getting in. I know we've had a lot of reports of flooding already going on in downtown Tulsa, Broken Arrow, Claremore, really everywhere that's been seeing the rain today, which is a lot of places. There's flooding pretty much everywhere now, and we have more rain coming through. That heavy rain now stretching from Glenpool, just the western side of Bixby, Jinx, through South Tulsa, Midtown, downtown Tulsa, even up along 75. Osage County dealing with a lot of heavy rain too. Manford continuing off to the west. And as we take a look a little more to the west, as this line continues to push through, and Bixby, Broken Arrow, Catoosa, Owasso, you're going to be seeing this next. Take a look at that. More thunderstorms coming through. That line right now through Osage County, Pawnee County, and Westport, Manford, right down 48 here, down into Bristow, Shamrock, Drumright. This is just rainstorm after rainstorm after rainstorm, leaving us with devastating flooding across the area. So we have to wait until Tuesday afternoon for all of this to get out of the area. So just stay alert if you have to be on the roads even tomorrow. Monitor the creeks and streams if you live near those, and don't drive into flooded roadways. And I know we say turn around, don't drown a lot, but in these types of scenarios, that is going to be very important because you may not know how deep that water may be, and you may not know the condition of the road underneath that water, as water can be very powerful and wash out a roadway, and you may not be able to see that. So even though you've driven over the same area 500 times going to and from home, if there's water on that roadway, don't risk it. So this is a very dangerous situation that we're dealing with right now, and Chief Meteorologist James Adelot still tracking these storms moving through.
Yeah, we mentioned the new tornado watch that's going to be in effect until 8 o'clock in the morning. Wanted to kind of show you where that is. So we've got 2 tornado watches that are on the map. The Tulsa part of this tornado watch actually in effect until 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, the new tornado watch is kind of basically right through Cherokee County, kind of down Highway 69 and to the east, including Sallisaw, LaFleur, Stigler, back into Wilburton. So that tornado watch is in effect until 8. Again, we'll likely see bits of this nibbled away from west to east, but we're still tracking that big area of rain and thunderstorms starting to build. This will be the last piece of this giant precipitation area that is blown across Oklahoma today. The good news is we don't see severe thunderstorms on this line. Now, there could be severe thunderstorm warnings, but we're not seeing that right now, so that's at least somewhat of a good sign. But there is a tornado watch that'll be in effect when this gets into eastern Oklahoma. We still could see at least the threat of some of those spin-up tornadoes as this moves through. Now, this is going to take its time to move across I-35 first, then into eastern parts of Oklahoma. And we're probably looking at 5 to 7 o'clock as it moves in. So we could have heavy downpours as many of us head off to work and for the last few days of school tomorrow morning as well. And we will likely still have street flooding concerns too. So we'll continue to watch that closely. And as we update the rainfall totals as well, we'll be passing those along to you as well. So Clay and Shay, not finished yet. More periods of rain, thunderstorms, and downpours to go overnight tonight.
Quite a mess, and more rain tonight is what no one wants to hear in our area after some people seeing 5-6 inches of more of rain.
So many communities can say that tonight with the flooding we're seeing, including Collinsville. Let's go back to Fox 23's Kaylee Doherty, who is along Highway 20, that's 146th Street there, not far from Memorial, with the flooding that's blocked a road in that area.
Yeah, we actually made our way onto Memorial. The rain is still falling down hard. Take a look. Even just where I'm standing, the water has been rising as I'm standing here. And then take a look at this roadway here. This is Memorial. Earlier I was on 146th Street, and it was about like this. I'm told there's a Cherry Creek that runs through here is the name of it, Cherry Creek. There's a bridge back there. We witnessed a water rescue. This car here, a woman was in it and she stalled out, and the Collinsville Fire Department came out and helped her out of her car, but she left the car there. You can see there's a driveway here. It appears that people are home, but I haven't been able to talk to them because the water's preventing us from getting that way. There was a very loud crack of thunder just now, and you can see just how rapidly the water is leaving the roadway there and flowing over into kind of this wooded area. I'm not sure if there's any homes back there, but earlier where we were, it looked about like this, and drivers told me that they don't usually see this kind of flooding in this area. The people that live in this area were telling me that. And what's really dangerous is it's very dark out here. There's not much lighting, and so when you drive up on this, there's not any warning or barricades in place that this is here. So that's most likely what happened to this woman here. She came over that bridge right there, not realizing how much water was flowing across the road right here from the creek. And the rain is still falling very hard. I'm seeing it right. The way that I got out of our vehicle when we parked here is now even flooded. So I might have to get in a different door of our car now. But we're talking with officials, and it sounds like they are dealing with several roads like this in Collinsville, but they rescued this woman out of her car and immediately took off, most likely headed to another area. So we're going to stay in touch with them, and we'll let you know when we find out more. Reporting live, covering News That Matters, I'm Kaylee Doherty, Fox 23 News.
Yeah, so Kaylee, go ahead and move that car a little farther away so it's not bumping up against that flooded area. Again, Cherry Creek is now over Highway 20 there, and that's just east of Memorial, to give you a feel for where you are.
Right, just so scary how the situation is changing out there. Now, Fox 23's Justin Air continues our live team coverage. He's been in Hominy all night, and Justin, the mess in the water around you kind of just continues to get worse.
Right, 5 drivers are stranded here at the Wilcoxon Oil and Service Station. It's right off of Pee Wee Road and Highway 20. If you take a look, here are some of the cars stranded. I spoke with one person here in this truck right in front of me, and he tells me Highway 20 is his biggest problem. That's where he lives, just right off of Highway 20, about 2 miles away. He says there's at least 4 to 5 feet of water on the road. Just being out here, I've seen 2 trucks already successfully, to be honest with you, get past that water without stopping. But these people, they're trying to keep it safe here. They tell me they've been here for about an hour to an hour and a half because they really just don't have anywhere else to go. Highway 20 is their biggest problem. The good news that I can tell you, I've been out here for about an hour 15. The rain is starting to light up a little bit. It's not torrential downpour like when I first got here, so that is a good sign. That driver who I just mentioned tells me he expects to be here for another 30 minutes or so if this rain tends to hold up like it's doing right now. We're live in Hominy covering news that matters. I'm Justin Eyre, Fox 23 News.
Well, what a mess in Hominy. Again, the water just keeps rising.
Right, and that's also the same situation down in Broken Arrow where Fox 23's Jackie Del Pilar is. Jackie even saw a fire truck that needed to be towed. Jackie.
Shay, you all have been mentioning all night the creeks that we see the most problems near. This is a perfect example. We've got a car that's stuck right over the bridge here. We are at the Hakey Creek on Houston, and the water from the creek has risen to road level and has just completely washed over the road. Now, there's not anyone in that car. Whoever was driving it was rescued by firefighters earlier, but this road is shut down. As we drove up, there's actually caution tape blocking off the road to other drivers so they don't end up in this same scenario. Now, we've been going from spot to spot tonight following firefighters as they've been doing these water rescues, and now it's at the point where we're finding the cars, but thankfully it seems like all of the people who were in danger have been taken to safety, and now it's just the cars that are left here with their hazards on until the water goes down. Now, some of the cars we've happened upon have been, the water's actually gone down by now, and it just kind of looks like the car is sitting there broken down, but thankfully the good news is that means that the water is receding. Now, the rain is finally lighting up. It is still raining here, but not nearly as heavily as it was earlier. As I mentioned before, about 9:10 tonight, the skies opened up and it just started downpouring, and that went on for a solid hour and a half, 2 hours. Now, again, it is still lightly raining, so there is still water being added here, but there was just an overwhelming amount of water that the creeks could not handle. Of course, the grass was already wet from a lot of the rain that we were already seeing today. But one thing we have been seeing, although the water has receded in some of the problem areas, the problem now is the debris that's left in the road. All the logs and twigs and branches and everything else that flows through the creek on a normal day has now ended up in the road. So if you are heading out tonight, if you're going to be on the road early in the morning, make sure you're aware that there may be some things on the road that you need to be paying extra attention to. Make sure you're not hitting a big branch that ends up in the middle of the road. But we know that police and firefighters are still out here tonight doing what they can to keep people away from getting into scenarios like this. Shay, you mentioned I actually saw a fire truck getting pulled by a tow truck earlier, which was very alarming to see, knowing that those big vehicles are meant to be able to navigate waters like this, and even they had some issues here tonight. Now, again, the water seems to be receding for now, but it is still raining, so there'll likely continue to be problems. I know there's flood watch alerts for this area all through the night until 5 in the morning. Reporting live in Broken Arrow, covering news that matters, I'm Jackie Del Pilar, Fox 23 News.
Right, Jackie, the debris not only in the roads, but of course that washes down to the drainage system, clogs the drainage system, making the problem even worse. It's tougher to get that water to drain away that way. And we're hearing something from Pryor now, more schools.
Yeah, Pryor schools will now be closed tomorrow because of flooding. And we mentioned earlier, Sperry schools are closed tomorrow because of flooding. We can expect that list to possibly grow as the rain continues to fall and the water flooding levels continue to rise.
And we've been watching the rain totals continue to grow across our area. Certified meteorologist Brad Carl is keeping track of that.
Yeah, and we've been watching these kind of evolve over the course of the evening, not ticking up quite as high as they were earlier. But let's put all this ridiculous amount of rainfall in perspective. So May is our wettest month of the year here in Oklahoma and also here in Tulsa, too. On average in Tulsa, we see roughly 5.9 inches of rainfall. Look how much we have in Skiatook and Pawnee. We have a month's worth of rainfall, not just any month, but the wettest month of the year, rainfall in 24 hours. That is truly incredible rainfall. and the fact that this is not the first time we've seen high rainfall mountains in either of these spots in Pawnee or Skiatook. So it's just the spots that have gotten inundated with rainfall throughout the last several weeks, the spots that continue to flood over and over and over again, generally north and northwest of the metro. A little bit less in areas around Talala and Inola, only around 5 inches. So this is still a lot of rainfall stacking on up. Also close to the 5-inch mark over in areas around Veneta, closer to around 3.5 inches in spots around North Tulsa, and I've also been seeing those amounts creep up in spots around Bixby as well. We just had our news desk confirm that parts of the Creek Turnpike between 51st and 31st are now closed due to high water in that spot as well. So although we may not be looking at the 6-inch amount of water that Pawnee and other areas around Osage and Pawnee County have, we are still seeing some big impacts as far as high water in areas around the metro as well, whether it be Tulsa or spots around Broken Arrow, like we've been seeing many of our reporters talking about. So a very active night still, and just a very wet and messy one, too. Of course, when we talk about severe weather, tornadoes are what really, I guess, really kind of get people engaged into thinking this is a real dangerous situation. But really, in all reality, flooding causes usually more problems for more people, and the effect can also be a lot longer lasting as well. So this is something we're going to continue to track for you overnight. As James has been telling you, we do have additional rainfall chances moving on in. We certainly don't need any more, but just seeing the way things have been evolving, we just have more ahead for us. I'm also seeing reports from Tiffany Alanese. She's been keeping an eye, in addition to going out to some of the areas damaged by tornadoes, she's also been keeping an eye on some of the flights out of Tulsa International Airport. Several are delayed, many are canceled, so if you have flight plans early on in the morning, you might want to be keeping an eye on that as well. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back over to James to look at the more rainfall we have on the way for us tonight, and if we have any additional severe weather opportunities into early Tuesday.
Yeah, we will have more chances for severe thunderstorms. Most of that, though, shifting a little south of Tulsa. As you look at the current picture, we still have heavy downpours moving through the city. We've added the cloud ground lightning strikes here, so these are noisy storms as they move across the city right now. In fact, as we look on the wider view, it's not just Tulsa. We've got this rain kind of extending all the way from Montgomery County in Kansas, all the way through Nowata County, back into the metro area, and even points further to the south, too. In fact, this goes all the way back into Oklahoma City, and as we look southwest of Oklahoma City, we're finally seeing signs that this is coming to an end. Now, it's going to take several more hours to get all of this through eastern Oklahoma, but you can see clusters of some more downpours, rain and thunderstorms here. That is still sweeping toward the east right now, and as it moves east, first crossing through central Oklahoma, then moving into eastern Oklahoma, will bring at least the threat of 1 or 2 severe storms back into parts of Green Country, and especially southeast Oklahoma. Can't rule out the threat of additional severe thunderstorm warnings here, and because of that tornado watch issued now, first one till 5 a.m. that includes generally Tulsa down to Norman, and then east of that, we've got a tornado watch in effect that'll go all the way until 8 o'clock in the morning. So Bartlesville, Tulsa, all the way down to Oklahoma City and Norman in that tornado watch. That's still valid until 5 o'clock. The new tornado watch southeast into Sequoia, LaFleur, Haskell, Latimer County, and into Arkansas and Missouri. That tornado watch is in effect until 8 o'clock in the morning. So just because we've had several rounds of rain and thunder move through, we still have an atmosphere that's still very conducive to severe weather. That's why we're going to continue to watch this for you overnight, not only keeping track of rainfall totals, flooding, and street closures and high water rescues, but also still the threat for additional severe storms. So Clay and Shay not finished yet in the Severe Weather Center.
All right. No, yeah, still a long night ahead. We've just seen so much rain, but the good news is that the tornado threat is gone.
Yes, thank goodness. Thank goodness. We're glad to see that. We are hearing some from Wagner County Emergency Management that they're involved in a lot of 1-minute water rescues. So they're finding people in cars, they're stuck, they need help, they're getting out there, getting them, and getting them to safety and moving on to the next one real fast.
Right.
But they have a full force. So it's all hands on deck right now handling this tonight.
In fact, we want to show you some of the videos that we've been getting in through our newsroom. This was from a water rescue in Bartlesville. Our crew had to stay back a bit, but you see the emergency vehicles there and the response to this water rescue. Earlier tonight, in Bartlesville.
Yeah, they're getting these calls all across the area. You wouldn't think so many people would be out and about at midnight driving, but just enough are, and find themselves on roads that they think they know, and then boom, they're covered with water. We heard from Kaylee Doherty earlier. She's driving along, and wow, look at that, water's right there. It's so easy for it to creep up on you. Same thing from Cornelius Hawker. He was in Broken Arrow going along Olive, which is 129th, and found that there's water just completely covering a large section of that road, and you just have to turn around. Some people stuck out of it.
Right, and one of the hard-hit areas is in Hominy tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video there. You can just see the water in the streets. It looks more like a local lake there. But we've had reports of several feet of water inside homes due to several inches of rain that have fallen. So there have been water rescues there in Hominy tonight, not only from cars, but rescuing people whose homes have flooded in some parts of Hominy.
Yeah, you see those homes back in there where the water rescues were happening. We're also seeing water going into homes in Claremore. We have a picture to show you here. This is this poor family hoping to keep the water out, and they couldn't. And that muddy water is now sitting inside their home. You can see some, looks like towels or something up there. They just finally, we can't stop it. Just put them up there and let's take a picture, send it in, and do what we can do when we can do it, right? So it'll take a while for that to dry out.
Right, and then in Coweta, there was also so much rain falling. This is in the Walmart parking lot, and check out this next shot. You're going to see right here, that red truck. That's just the water flooding the parking lot because it just rained so hard, so fast there in Coweta tonight, like so many communities across our area, across northeast Oklahoma, have seen tonight.
Right, we're seeing it on major roads as well. There's North Lewis in Tulsa. This is area there near Dawson Road, and you can see that just those low spots. It's fine up beyond this, but in those low spots, all of a sudden it gets to be too much water, and these cars, some of them just cannot make it through it. You know, they see, you know, we see it sometimes when we're doing these our live presentations, and oh no, they shouldn't come through, and then you see a big truck do it, right?
Right.
And everybody thinks, oh, you know, I can do that too. Well, no, not always.
Yeah,
see?
and then you get stuck like that.
Yeah.
We also have some new pictures out of Owasso tonight. Look at this street flooding near 96th Street North and 161st East Avenue. You can just see the white water.
It looks like the tide's coming
rushing.
in. You know, look at that.
Yeah. And I can tell you, living in Owasso, there's not much to the shoulders there. Most of the roads don't have shoulders there, and so you saw the water right up to the white line there.
Goodness,
is that someone standing in there? It almost looks like shorts standing in there. But I also checked the Owasso Police Department Facebook page, and they said the biggest problem, of course, now that the tornado threat is gone, is street flooding, like what you're seeing right here, that there are so many neighborhood streets and other streets that are impassable tonight. And while this is on 96th Street North, I know over at near the 8th grade center on 86th Street North, there was also some flooding there tonight, and in the Preston Lakes community, which is a really large community over there.
If we didn't know that was Owasso, you'd think, oh, that's a beach road.
Right.
The water's just coming up on the beach road. All right, now there's a beach road apparently now in Owasso.
I wish we lived right on the beach.
All right, let's look in Claremore. We have some shots in there too. Okay, this is a good video here showing just how much water is. I don't know which street this is, but it looks like downtown Claremore. And man, oh man, look at kind of a crazy shot there, but you can see all the water there they had to deal with tonight.
Oh, yeah. In fact, one of our reporters who was there earlier tonight was Fox 23's Mariah Ellis. She has since moved. I believe she is now in the Skiatook area. Sorry, she is in Claremore still. So let's check back in with Mariah. Where are you exactly in Claremore, and what are you seeing, Mariah?
Yes, Shay, we're right here on 24th near Jay. That's actually just kind of north of Blue Star where we were last at. And we've actually just been trying to kind of go to some of those areas where we've seen a lot of the flooding. Some of those pictures that we received earlier, people showing water rushing into their homes. Well, we're in the neighborhood kind of where that actually happened. And if you could see, just how much water we have around this area. In fact, I didn't even want to walk around. I mean, we're trying to stay in some of the lawn areas out here because it's dark. You can see just how much water when you take a look down this neighborhood. You could see on a level near those mailboxes how deep some of these areas are. In fact, we're taking a look even down further down the street, and you can see where that water is hitting some of those cars. And so we're just kind of keeping out of the area. We parked a little ways back and just tried to maneuver around, trying to stay out of this middle section where you can see this water is pretty deep. In fact, we walked even a little close to it, and it was already getting over my boots, which is right here. So we've seen cars actually try to go through it. It's going above their hoods, and so I'm even surprised that they were able to make it through here. But it looked like Claremore Power and Restoration has been going through the neighborhood, just checking in on some of those homes that might be dealing with some problems out here tonight. And it's just a reminder to, if you have some of those issues, to just try to keep those items up a little higher. I think specifically in this area is where they've noticed the biggest issue in particular. But we're going to kind of maneuver around here and see if we can find a couple of those other areas and see where more of that flooding is out here in Claremore tonight. Covering News That Matters, Mariah Ellis, Fox 23 News.
Boy, in Collinsville, they don't have to look hard to find the flooding tonight. It's right along Highway 20, 146th Street. Cherry Creek's up.
Yeah, and that's where Fox 23's Kaylee Doherty continues our live team coverage. Kaylee.